Craig Larkins, a weather specialist with CBC News Calgary, has worked his way to a network weather position all the way from a teleprompter position in the early 2000s. He has worked at all three major stations, Global, CTV, and now CBC, and he couldn't be happier. SAIT first-year BN student Evan Morrow had the opportunity to interview Craig and ask him about his incredible journey in broadcast news.
What did you do right after high school, and what made you go into broadcasting?
I got the broadcasting bug in high school. My local high school had actually a radio station, so I was one of the local DJs over the lunch hour. So I did that in grade 11 and 12, and then right out of high school, I knew I wanted to go into radio originally, but for some reason I was more drawn to the TV side of things once I was really involved in it all, and I started behind the scenes in production and then eventually ended up where I am today, and I'm loving it.
What school did you study at, and did it prepare you for a career on air?
Was called at the time Robertson College in Winnipeg, and now I think it's called Academy of Broadcasting now. I think the world of broadcasting and journalism, you can't really be prepared for it until you're really in the thick of it all, and you're in the scrums, and you're actually you have that deadline of 6 o'clock to meet every day, and you're out there and you're competing with all the other reporters, and you're competing with your fellow coworkers to get the story. So I think it's a hands-on type of career that you learn as you go, and once you really get it, you get it, and you'll love it, and you'll be amazing.
So Craig, what roles have you had in television, and which have been your favorite?
Well, right out of college, I was hired by a TV station in Manitoba called MTN, and I started on teleprompter, so I call it the bottom of the ladder, but it's not really the bottom job. But I climbed the ladder I was a floor director, studio camera, I was a production assistant, so I did a lot of behind the scenes work in the early beginnings of my career. And then I started doing some community reporting, and then jumped over to news reporter and news anchor for CTV in Ontario for a bit, and then weather just kind of fell in my lap. I was a fill-in anchor and just fell in love with it. You can have so much fun with it and have so much personality. So doing weather is probably the favorite part of my job right now. It's fun.
What is the most difficult aspect of your job?
The hard part of the job is nailing the green screen. A lot of people stand in front of it and get lost, and you still can, and I kind of lose some perception of where I am, east-west, north-south type of deal. But I think for me it's timing, and I'm given 2 minutes and 30 seconds in a show to do my full forecast, and I like to talk, and nailing that 2 minutes and 30 seconds is kind of tricky for me, and I usually go, it's called heavy, and that being I'll go 10 seconds over or 15 seconds over sometimes, and I'll have the director or producer in my ear just telling me to wrap, shut up pretty much at the end of the day. So timing for me is probably the hardest part of my job, but I love it, and I love interacting with other people on the show, so it's fun.
What has been a highlight in your career so far, and what do you most look forward to?
When I started in the industry, I'm a very driven, don't take no for an answer type of guy, so I always had a goal and I always went after it, and I had a lot of doors slammed in my face and a lot of jobs turned down, but I had a goal of making it to the top, being either a CTV network or CBC network, and I achieved that about 2 years ago. I started with CTV Edmonton, and then I was picked up by CTV News Channel to do some forecasting. So that was a huge accomplishment for me. After being with News Channel, I was noticed by CBC News Network, and that was even bigger for me because it's CBC. Like at the end of the day, it's the mother corp, as we like to say. That was my career highlight. I was moved to Toronto for a year, and I worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, like Peter Mansbridge, Claire Martin, Wendy Mesley. Claire is like my mentor, so it was amazing to actually work under her wings. So I think reaching my goal and getting to that level was my career highlight, and now I'm good where I am. I can do whatever I want now.
And Craig, my final question for you. What advice would you give someone considering a career in broadcasting?
It's a very competitive industry, and it's not fun not getting a job. Everybody knows that. So I would just say don't give up. Keep going after your dreams, keep going after your goal. If you want to be a reporter, just keep trying. You gotta prove yourself, and you gotta get in their face, and you gotta show them what you got, because you just gotta really be persistent, driven, and if you have 12 doors slammed in your face, there's gonna be one that eventually opens, and that's gonna be your in to getting that on-air experience. And then from there, it is literally all up to you. You gotta work hard, get on camera, do amazing stories, do on-air presentation as best as you can, and just really work the industry. And another thing is, it is a very small industry. Everybody knows everybody across the country, so you know the old slogan, don't burn a bridge, do not burn a bridge, and just be a good employee at the end of the day. You never know that a fellow reporter you're working with could be your boss 3 years down the line, so you don't want to tick them off.
Craig Larkins has been in industry for almost a decade, yet he feels like he hasn't worked a day in that time. If you find something you are passionate about, you won't feel like you have to work a day in your life either.